In the quiet village of Aiyetoro, where red earth paths wound like lazy snakes between mud houses and tall palm trees, people believed that every sweetness in life came with a shadow. Children laughed freely under the mango trees, women traded stories by the river, and elders sat beneath the great Iroko tree to share wisdom that stretched far beyond memory. Life was simple, predictable, and deeply rooted in tradition, but as the elders often said, when sweetness lingers too long on the tongue, beware, it may not come from honey alone. This was the story of a girl named Amara and the dark secret that changed her life forever. Amara was known throughout Aiyetoro for her kindness. She helped her mother at the market, fetched water for elderly neighbors, and never passed a hungry child without sharing her food. But even more than her kindness, Amara was known for her friendship with Sade. Sade was different. She had come to the village 2 rainy seasons earlier with her grandmother, Mama Inyola. No one knew exactly where they came from, but Mama Inyola claimed they had lived in many places, moving from town to town like wandering birds. Sade was quiet but charming. Her eyes sparkled like dew in the early morning, and her laughter, though rare, was soft and musical. But what truly made Sade beloved was her sweets. Every afternoon, she brought out trays of brightly colored treats, coconut candies, honey cakes, sugar fritters, and soft pastries that seemed to melt the moment they touched the tongue. No one in Aiyetoro had ever tasted anything like them. Children followed her everywhere, even adults, who pretended to be cautious, would stop by a compound just to greet Mama Inyola, only to leave with sticky fingers and satisfied smiles, and Sade shared them freely, except there was one strange rule: never eat them after sunset, she would say with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. No one questioned it. After all, many things in the village had rules about when to whistle, when to fetch water, when to enter the forest, but Amara noticed. Amara always noticed. Amara and Sade grew close quickly. They fetched water together, whispered secrets during moonlit nights, and braided each other's hair beneath the shade of the baobab tree. Sade trusted Amara enough to let her help in making the sweets, at least part of it. "You can mix the flour," Sade would say, "or stir the honey. But when I say stop, you must stop." Amara never argued. She simply smiled and obeyed, but curiosity is a stubborn thing, especially in a young heart. It began with little things. One afternoon, Amara noticed that a boy named Tond, who had eaten more sweets than anyone else, had become strangely quiet. He stopped playing with the other children. He sat alone, staring at nothing. When Amara called his name, he blinked slowly, as if waking from a deep dream. "I am just tired," he murmured. But Tond was never tired, not like that. Soon, more children began to change. They laughed less, they spoke less. Some would wander at night, their footsteps soft and aimless, like sleepwalkers guided by unseen hands. Parents grew worried, elders whispered, but no one suspected Sade. After all, how could sweetness bring harm? One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and shadows stretched long across the village, Amara stayed later than usual at Sade's house. They had been preparing a new batch of sweets, ones that shimmered faintly, as though touched by moonlight. "They are special," Sade said, "more special than the others." Amara's curiosity burned. "Can I taste one?" she asked. Sade hesitated, then she shook her head firmly. "No. Not now. Not after sunset." "Why?" Sade's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because they will taste you back." Amara laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke, but Sade did not laugh. That night, as Sade stepped outside to fetch water, Amara's curiosity overcame her obedience. She wandered deeper into the house, past the cooking area, past Mama Inyola's room, until she found a door she had never seen before. It was old, wooden, covered in strange symbols carved deeply into its surface, and it was slightly open. Amara hesitated, her heart pounded, but something pulled her forward. Slowly, she pushed the door open. The room was dark, lit only by flickering candles. The air smelled sweet, but rotten beneath the sweetness. At the center of the room stood a large clay pot. It bubbled softly. Amara stepped closer, and then she saw it. Inside the pot, faces, faint, distorted, floating just beneath the surface like reflections in disturbed water. Children's faces, Tond, others from the village. Their eyes were open, but empty. Amara gasped. The pot responded. The surface rippled violently, and a whisper filled the room. hungry. Amara stumbled backward, her breath caught in her throat. Behind her, a voice spoke, "You are not supposed to see that." Amara turned slowly. Sade stood in the doorway. Her expression was no longer gentle. Her eyes glowed faintly in the candlelight. "You should have listened," Sade said. Tears filled Amara's eyes. "What is this?" Sade sighed. Then she stepped into the room. "My grandmother calls it the pot of sweetness," she said quietly. "It feeds on joy, on laughter, on life." Amara shook her head. No, you're lying." "I wish I was." Sade's voice trembled. "We were starving when we found it. My grandmother said it would help us survive, and it did." She gestured to the pot. "It gives us sweets that people cannot resist. But in return, it takes something." Amara whispered, "The children." "Yes." Sade's eyes filled with tears. "It takes their spirit." Slowly, bite by bite, Amara felt anger rise within her. "You are hurting them." "I know," Sade cried, "but if we stop, the pot will take us instead." Silence filled the room. Heavy, suffocating. "There must be another way," Amara said. Sade shook her head. "There is not." But Amara refused to accept that. The next day, Amara went to the eldest man in the village, Baba Olu. He listened carefully as she told him everything. When she finished, he closed his eyes. "I had hoped that evil would never return in this form," he said softly. "You know it?" Amara asked. "Yes." He leaned forward. "That pot is not just a vessel. It is a spirit, an ancient one. It feeds on human essence and disguises its hunger with sweetness. Can it be destroyed?" Baba Olu nodded slowly. "But at a cost." "To destroy the pot," Baba Olu said, "one must refuse its sweetness completely, and offer it something it cannot consume." "What is that?" "Sacrifice," he replied, "not of life, but of desire." Amara frowned. "I don't understand." "The pot thrives on temptation. To destroy it, someone must willingly give up what they desire most, and confront it without fear." Amara thought of Sade, of their friendship, of the sweets, of the laughter they once shared. "I will do it," she said. That night, Amara returned to Sade's house. "I know how to stop it," she said. Sade looked at her with a mix of hope and fear. "You don't understand what you're risking." "I do." Amara stepped forward. "And I'm not leaving you alone in this." Tears streamed down Sade's face. "I don't want to hurt anyone anymore." "Then help me." They entered the hidden room together. The pot bubbled violently. As though aware of their intentions, Amara stepped forward. "I refuse your sweetness," she said loudly. "I reject your gift." The pot hissed. The faces within twisted. "You lie." The whisper came. Amara shook her head. "I choose something greater." "What could be greater than sweetness?" the voice demanded. Amara looked at Sade. "Love," she said. The room shook. The candles flickered wildly. The pot cracked. Sade grabbed Amara's hand. The whispers turned to screams. The sweetness in the air soured into something unbearable. And then, silence. The pot shattered. The next morning, the village woke to something strange. The children were themselves again, laughing, running, alive. Sade and her grandmother were gone. No one knew where they went, but some said they saw two figures walking toward the forest at dawn, free. Amara never ate sweets the same way again, and whenever children gathered under the mango tree, she would tell them, "Not everything that tastes good is good for you." And sometimes, the sweetest things hide the darkest secrets. And in Aiyetoro, people remembered, because some sweetness is worth refusing, and some darkness must be faced.